In the book of John, chapter 4, there is a great story. I want to tell you the story. I want to read the story to you. I want you to hear all about it. It's about a man who is official in the Roman government, probably under Herod Antipas. This man is very well taken care of. He's high up in the government. Everything works well for him. He has everything he needs. He is wealthy. He is provided for. When something goes wrong, he has connections. He knows people. All he has to do is speak the word, and those things are available to him. But he hits a speed bump in his life where all those connections, all those friendships, all that money cannot fix the biggest need that he has in his life, because his boy is sick. And the doctors have told him that he's just not merely sick, he's sick and going to die. In fact, they've given him only days to live. And as he hears his boy crying out, even this grown man who is high up in government, he starts to cry. He's tried everything. He's reached out to all the people he normally reaches out to, and there are no solutions. And that's when he goes to the last resort. I mean, the word was out that Jesus was in the area, some 22 miles away from him, but nonetheless in the area. The word was out that Jesus was performing miracles, that he was healing people. It was sort of scorned, and yet behind the scenes sort of talked about, what if it's true? And yet sort of put down if you would happen to go there to look, because we know it's not true. And yet they kept on hearing stories that it was true. And in his mind, he says, I guess I don't really care what my boss thinks about this, and I don't care if I'm going to get fired, because when you have a kid that is sick, everything else gets put aside, right? And when you have a kid that's in a desperate spot, when you got a kid that is crying, you say, I don't care what my boss thinks, I don't care what my friends say, I don't care who laughs at me, I'm going to do what I have to do. And it's in that moment that he goes and he finds Jesus. And he asks him, would you heal my boy? Remember, this isn't a religious man. This isn't a churchgoer. This isn't a person with any religious background in the slightest. But now, he actually steps up and says, I need to talk to Jesus. Let me read to you. We're going to pop it up on the screen. John chapter 4, verse 46. So he came again to Cana in Galilee, where he had made the water wine. Talk about a miracle. And at Capernaum, there was an official whose son was ill. When this man heard that Jesus had come from Judea to Galilee, he went to him and asked him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. He's asking for a miracle. He's going to die unless you intervene. Last week we talked about something very different than a miracle. We talked about this one word, providence, where we said God takes many, many, many points of activity, of life, of connections, of people, of things, current, things past, things that are going to happen in the days ahead, people from the other side of the world, things that are going on in incredibly different places throughout, and he brings all of those things together to accomplish his will. It's a complicated process. What we're talking about today is very different than that. That's a lot of little different points to bring about what God wants. We call it providence. It's complicated, but he does it. Today, God, through his very word, does a miracle where he changes, this is the definition of it, where he changes the natural sequence of things, the natural order of things to bring about his will with just a word. And that's what happens here. The boy's at a point of death. Let me keep on reading. Verse 48. So Jesus said to him, unless you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. The official said to him, sir, come down. That's the second time he says that. Before my child dies. The word for child there is little child. This was a young child. Come down before my child dies. And Jesus said to him, go. Your son will live. What do you do with that? You're not coming down? What if I get there and my child's not alive? What if I get there and my child dies? Just go. Your child will live. And he has at that moment the opportunity to respond to Jesus. Here's what I'm going to say over and over to you this morning. I'm just going to keep pointing you towards Jesus. The answer to everything in your life is Jesus. Will you reorient whatever's going on in your life right now that is shading the event, shading your joy, shading your forward motion? Would you take everything and point your eyes towards Jesus? That's why we have the cross at the center of this place today, because in the cross, everything changed. God offered to us his righteousness in exchange for our sin, where he carried that weight and that forgiveness to the cross, and he took the punishment that was due to us on the cross. Would you turn your eyes to the cross, to the one who gave his life for you, to the one who took your place in death, the one who brings you life? Change your focus. A lot of us in this room today are focused in on death. We're focused in on the darkness of the world. We're focused in on what's going wrong, and it's weighing you down. That smile's not on your face anymore. There are wrinkles, there are lines where there shouldn't be. There's burdens hanging on you. You're not doing well. I want to take you and I want to lift your head. I want to lift your eyes to Jesus. I want to point you to Jesus. This whole passage is all about pointing you to Jesus. Hey, listen, someone in here this morning, someone in these seats, someone online, by the way, good morning those of you online. Someone online is feeling incredible pain, incredible weakness right now. You've been looking around, you've been trying to find something, and even today you may hear me say the word miracle and go, oh, maybe that's what I need. Let me tell you what you need today is Jesus. This man went to Jesus. This man would be pointed to Jesus. And in this moment, you know who he believes in? Jesus says you're going to go home, your son will live. Just go. Go right now, your son will live. And the next words are, and he believed. I'm going to encourage you today, don't believe in a miracle. Don't believe in providence. Believe in Jesus. Don't put your eyes on providence. Everything's going to work out. Don't put your eyes on a miracle. Something crazy is going to happen. Put your eyes on Jesus, and Jesus may choose to work in your life through providence, through all those little details coming together to accomplish his will. Jesus may choose to work in your life by doing something where he suspends the natural order of things to accomplish his will. But no matter what, he wants you to place your eyes on him. All eyes on Jesus, church. All eyes on Jesus. Do you get that? Shake your heads a little bit. You're dark out there. I'm having trouble seeing you, but I do appreciate the noise. I'm hearing you a little bit. It says the man believed the word that Jesus spoke and went on his way. In a few moments, you're going to get up from this place. You're going to walk out. You're going to go on your way. But the question is, will you believe that the word that Jesus spoke is true? Will you grab onto Jesus? Will you carry on in your life knowing Jesus? Verse 51, as he was going down, he leaves, he believes, he heads out. As he was going down, his servants met him on the road. Some 22 miles to where he's going to. It's a long walk. He doesn't know what's going to come once he arrives at home. What if you get home and nothing has changed? What if you get home and your boy's not better? What, even worst case scenario, I hate to even think about it, what if you get home and your boy has died? What if they have a bad report? And there he looks in the distance, and there comes his guys. They're coming to tell him what the situation is. They're meeting him halfway. And as he sees them in the distance, his mind is spinning. Some of you have sat in the waiting room of a hospital during surgery. Those times can be ridiculously long. Your brain goes a million different places. And doctors will tell you, hey, you know what, it should be around 3 hours, maximum 4. And at about the 5-hour mark, your brain just goes to the worst case scenario, right? 6 hours, and you're just going, what's happening? You're going up to that person there that's manning the desk. You're like, can someone give me some more information? Can you tell me what's taking place? Because your mind is starting to go very, very dark to very dark places. You're just sure something terrible has happened, and you're trying to figure it out. And so this man's walking home, 22 miles of walking, and all of a sudden he sees his guys coming. As he arrives, he knows any moment now, I'm either going to hear my boy is healed. That's what Jesus said is going to happen. I'm going to be jumping up and down. We're going out to dinner tonight. We're having a party. Or I'm going to hear just what I didn't want to hear. My boy is dead. And I'm going to be doubled over, weeping in pain like I've never been before. And it's there as these men arrive. It says the servants met him and told him that his son was recovering. So he asked the hour when he began to get better, and they said to him, yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him. Now listen carefully what is said next. The father knew that this was the hour when Jesus said to him, your son will live. Hey, listen, if this son had not been sick, this guy would have never met Jesus. I know we'd love to have an easy life, a problem-free life, but sometimes through the events of our lives, this is an awesome moment to step back and go, you know, Jesus is refocusing me, trying to get my eyes onto Jesus. Again, our eyes are not to be on the miracle. Who did he go to? He went to Jesus. He didn't go to a miracle. If it's all about the miracle, if all we're talking about is a miracle, then we're looking for a physical manifestation of something that is not God himself. We want to put our eyes on God himself. We want to look at Jesus face to face. Now this guy he's like, Jesus, here's what I want you to do, come down. Because in his mind, that's what Jesus would have to do. He would have to go to his house and touch his boy to make him well. I would just say to us today, quit trying to predict what God's going to do, how God's going to do it. Quit trying to tell God how to answer prayer. He is God. Now I get it, this guy did that. And I get it, we do that. I do. I find it in my prayers oftentimes. I'm like, God, here's what I just wish you'd do. And I start listening down. And I just have a conversation with God. And that's what I want you to do even as you pray. Just have a conversation with God. And I'll laugh. I go, here I am trying to tell you, the God of the universe, how to fix this thing. Okay, I need to stop this. God, whatever you want. Here's what I want to say. I know you've got this. I know you are powerful. And here's what's happening in that moment is I'm trying to line my heart and my life and my ways up with God's ways so that I start having his mind in all of this. And there's things that he's doing in our lives where he's trying to get our attention back on him, where he's drawing our attention back to him. If it weren't for that thing going on in your life right now, you may totally miss Jesus.